and welcome to Riff Magazine. We can be found on the web at www.cadocchriff.com. My name is Jason JROCK Houston. My pleasure to be speaking with lead singer David Watson from a band A Rising Force. Now, let me ask you, David, right off the bat. I know you're not an original member of the band, and we'll get into that, but I was curious about the band's name. Does anybody ever get confused and think they're coming to see Yngwie Malmsteen's band? I mean, I know there's a distinction. I was just kind of curious.
I think when we came out with the song "Believe" and it went on YouTube, somebody asked if Yngwie had contacted us yet to sue us.
And like I said, there's a distinction, because if you look close enough, I mean, your band is A Rising Force, and his band is obviously Yngwie Malmsteen's Rising Force. I just thought that was kind of a good icebreaker to start the interview. But anyways, I do like, I got to be real honest, I've never heard of a band myself until the publicist sent me a press release on the band, and I was checking out the video for Believe, and I was really impressed with what I saw, and it's kind of interesting that you're not the original singer. So let's talk a little bit about that. I mean, how did you get the gig then, and how did they? Was it a matter of you auditioning? Did the band reach out to you? What's the story there?
Well, I was in Arizona with my better half. She and I were down there. I was doing some gigs with. I had a Skinner band, a Skinner tribute band in Las Vegas for a long time. And I was out there doing shows, and we honestly weren't going to come back to Minnesota. We were thinking, there's nothing for us there. I mean, her job's mobile, so it wasn't a big deal, and I had more gigs out west than in the Midwest. And this was we're talking this past September, so a year ago. Wow. Yeah.
And so you guys got the album done really quick.
What's that?
I said you got the album done really quick then, because I understand the album just came out June 3rd. So wow, talk about delivering the goods.
Yeah, it was we're all hungry, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's the best part about this band, and Lenny called me up. He's a guitar player. He's kind of the ringleader of the band.
Okay.
And he said to me, he goes, Mark, our singer, is leaving. I want you to take a listen to our music. We really want you. I think you'd be a great fit in the direction we're going. So I listened to it. I was very intimidated because Mark is a great singer.
Wow.
He's got more of that 80s, 80s hair metal vibe. And I honestly didn't think I could fit his shoes, because I've been singing in metal bands for a long time, heavier side, drop tuning, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I didn't know how it would fit. So Lenny convinced me. Kat and we drove back to Minnesota, and I walked in. I learned most of the material from the last album when we were on the road coming back.
Wow.
So in a couple days, I sat down with them. I sang. And it clicked. I was like, wow, I wasn't expecting that this would fit. And Lenny's like, I knew it would. I could hear it in my head.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting you say that, because when I was watching the video for Believe last night, prepping for this interview we're doing now, I thought, without really knowing too much about the band, and I'm kind of reading the press release. That's where I kind of discovered, oh, wait a minute, he's not the original singer. But what's interesting is, in listening to it, I mean, you definitely got your own thing going, David. And I listened to that, and I think, okay, this, I really don't know how to I've just heard the one track. I haven't had time to hear the rest of the album yet. But just based on the one track, I'm kind of like, okay, it sounds like this band's kind of maybe a cross between a modern rock band, hard rock, metal, alternative. I think, to me, it seems like it's kind of hard to pigeonhole, what you guys are. And I think that's probably has a lot to do with your voice.
Yeah, I get all kinds of stuff. I think somebody recently just said I sound like Chris Jericho. I thought that was interesting.
I don't hear that. I don't hear that, but okay. Yeah.
I don't either. I get a lot of David Bowie, Jeff Tate.
Interesting, yeah.
Oh God, the guy, the singer from Candlemass. I get it across the board. My voice is my voice, and
it fits the band. I mean, I kind of agree with Lenny. I mean, it seems like, especially people just discovering the band like me for the first time, know nothing about the band's history. It's kind of you listen and you think, it sounds like these guys have been together for a while. And so let me ask you, once you got the gig, was there any pressure from other guys to, we want you to sound like the old singer Mark, or did they kind of tell you, David, just do your thing and whatever comes out comes out?
Jason, exactly that.
Yeah.
The latter. Because I was trying to sing the stuff like Mark, and they go, nah, it doesn't work.
I think that's why this is working, because I think people can tell when you're checking it in or you're faking a meaning, like I can't tell you, I nobody was more surprised to me when Van Halen was able to go out and replace David Lee Roth with Sammy Hagar for both great singers, don't get me wrong, but also at the same token, two totally different types of singers and songwriters, but yet both those guys work for Van Halen, and I think it's the same thing with you, because if Sammy had gone in there trying to sound like David Lee Roth when he's very much got his own thing going, people would say, you're trying to be a Dave clone,
Yep. Yeah, you hit it right on the head. That's exactly it. And Lenny alluded to that as well. He goes, "This is a whole new band." Mark was again. Mark's great. He's a great front man, great singer, and also a great lead guitar player. So when I walked in the door, I was like, guys, I've got an acoustic show. I front metal bands. I'm not, even though I've been playing guitar since I was 16, I am just not, I never focused on guitar.
Yeah.
I use it to,
write
to
songs.
just accentuate my voice. So,
okay.
They were like, hey, no problem. We've got a guy. So, it was kind of like a 2-for-1 deal when Mark left. So they ended up getting Billy, who's 23-year-old protege.
Wow.
He's a shredder. Yeah, he's great. So it was perfect. I got to walk in. I got to be a front man. I still play acoustic guitar on a couple of the songs, a couple ballads that we wrote. But other than that, I get to just front the band, which I enjoy doing. I love running around audiences. I can't be tethered down. I don't like that.
Were the songs all written by the time you joined the band, or did you get to contribute anything at all besides your vocals?
They were already formulated.
Yeah.
It was mainly the five of us sitting in a room and going, okay, this works, this doesn't work, let's try this, let's do that. Believe we actually dropped it down.
Okay.
We did a drop D tuning because it just sounded better, heavier.
Yeah, it sounds like a heavy alternative track to me. Kind of modern rock, like I said, and it's kind of. I was curious because I don't have a record sitting right in front of me, but did Mark write any of the lyrics before he left, or did they write all of his stuff after he left? Okay.
No, it was everything was written after Mark. So it's pretty much a new band.
Oh, yeah.
Minus the 3 core members. Yeah.
And I think "Believe" is a great track to go with, not just because it's a great song, but it's almost like, knowing what I just heard about, you not being the original singer and all that, and you come into the band, it kind of sounds like maybe these guys kind of saying, we believe in the new lineup, we believe in, the new singer. And I think that's what makes it such a cool track.
Well, you can thank Dark Star for that. Our record label, they're the ones that came up with it. They said, we listened to the whole album and we like this. And
and Dark Star Records.
What they said.
Dark Star Records is a great little up and coming label. One of my most they got a lot of great artists on there. One of the most favorite things they put out this year is that Tony Martin album, Thorns, and he's the former singer from Black Sabbath, and I love the fact that Tony's finally got an album of his own where he's really kind of getting love from the fans and the critics alike. Well overdue. And they're just great.
We actually we did an album with Tony.
Okay. Wow.
For the people of the Ukraine.
Okay.
All the proceeds go to the people of the Ukraine, not the government.
Well, that's good. Yeah.
It goes to the people. And Tony was the one that did that, and he has a number of different bands on there that are on the Dark Star label, and we were fortunate enough to put one of our songs on there called Love and War.
Oh, okay. So, and I love the fact that you guys got such a great label because they're great at promoting their artists. But I was reading also in the press release that the band had kind of was forced into getting a new record deal because the previous label, the record label president and his wife, unfortunately, had passed away. Now, did the band go through that before you were with them, or did that happen?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. Bill and Lori Chavez, they passed away, I believe in August.
Oh, wow.
And it was a big shock for the guys. It's a very interesting situation to be in when you're on a label and you're signed to a label and they've got all of your material.
Yeah.
And then the people pass away. It's how do you
do that? I mean, I was reading you guys had to, or the band anyways had to, figure out how to go about like getting back the rights to your songs. I don't know what your involvement in that is, but did that take a long time before you guys could even put the album out?
No. They were very the family.
Yeah.
Once they organized everything, they loved the band. So
yeah,
they were like, this is your stuff, guys. Just take it.
And
we love you, and good luck in the future. Which is great because you don't want to be in that position of having to go to get a lawsuit, especially when somebody dies.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's horrible.
I mean,
thank God we didn't have to go through that.
I mean, could you imagine? I mean, to have such a great album, like in the can, and then you can't put it out because of something like that. So, thank God. I mean, maybe they're looking down on you. Maybe you're saying, thumbs up, guys.
Bill and his wife were very. I used to live out in LA, and they were very much involved with the music community out there. So they had a lot of people that loved them, and they're really, really good people. They were honest to God, genuine people. So the business aspect of them,
what can you say? I mean, it's tops.
That wasn't something we really had to worry about, really.
Yeah, it's just kind of an interesting part of a story, and then when you deliver an album like that, and it's almost like, oh man, we did it. I mean, even as a music fan, I just kind of, I'm cheering you guys on because I thought, wow, what a story. I don't know what else to say, but and so what are you guys' plans as far as touring behind the new album?
Well, we're starting off. Actually, this Friday, we take off with Tesla. We're doing 4 dates with them.
How cool is that? Wow.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. I'm really fortunate. I've worked with those guys a few times. I used to do hospitality on the Monsters of Rock cruise, so I've rubbed elbows with them, and they're great guys. They've got a great crew. They're family people. So it's gonna be a lot of fun working with them again.
Yeah, I've been a Tesla fan since day one, and what I've always loved about Tesla is kind of every album kind of has a sound of its own, and Tesla's one of those bands too. You can't really pigeonhole it. I mean, you could say they're hard rock, they're metal, they're pop, they're a little bit of everything. I mean, I love the remake they did. They do a lot of great covers, but I really love the version of Signs they did. In fact, I interviewed Tommy Skeoch, the original guitar player who played on that, and he was telling me, they had an even bigger hit with it than the original artist, which is just kind of amazing because Tesla, I think, really owned that song and made it their own.
Yeah, and I do it in my acoustic shows. People love it. They just they absolutely love it. So it's and nobody knew it was a five man
acoustical jam,
something like that.
Yeah, and they're a band too. I think with that album, that kind of launched that whole unplugged craze, you know? Because nobody was doing that before Tesla, so you gotta give them credit for that. And and you know, you mentioned something about working on the Monsters of Rock cruise in the hospitality. How did you get a cool gig like that? Because even just kind of working on the ship, I would think would be cool, even if you're not getting to you know, play as part of a show. That's got to be a cool thing to be part of.
Well, I used to, when I lived in Las Vegas, I became really good friends with Pat Fontaine.
Yeah.
And Pat Fontaine is a bass player for a band called XYZ.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Terry Lewis. Yeah.
Yeah, Terry sang for Great White for a little while, and
XYZ obviously.
I want to put a shout out to my buddy Andrew Friedman, who's a good friend of mine. He just got the gig, and he's now singing for Great White.
Oh, that's cool. Awesome. Now, being a friend, I just got to ask, because it hasn't really been kind of confirmed. Do you know, is he doing both Great White and Last in Line, or because that's double duty?
Yes, he is.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean,
he is. He's doing both. He's done me a few solids in time. I was there's a local club in Las Vegas called Tams. And, Danny Coker from County Coker owns it. Count's Custom, sorry, and he had just gotten the gig with Last in Line. So I'm sitting there in the bathroom of Amps with him, and he goes, "Hey man, I just got this gig. Can you cover for me for Raiding the Rock Vault?"
Oh wow!
I go,
hey, yeah,
are
sure.
you kidding me? Of course. So he went to. Unfortunately, I didn't get the gig because I'm an unknown person. You know.
Okay.
Andrew sang for many great bands already, so the owner of Raiding the Rock Vault was like, I don't know this guy.
Yeah.
So no. But it was nice of him to throw my name in the hat. So I've always appreciated that about Andrew. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guys from Great White, I know them actually. Michael Lardy, the keyboard guitar player, got me my endorsement with Godin Guitars up in Canada. So, yeah, it's nice. It was nice working on the boat. I mean, it was just Pat Fontaine just said, you know, in his broken English, he's French.
Okay, yeah.
And he was just like, hey, you want to work on the boat? And I said, sure. So yeah, I got to work on Monsters of Rock. I got to work on Cruise to the Edge. I got to work on the Mega Cruise, which is all metal, and it was a great run.
It's a great way to, you know, if anything, not only is it a different kind of experience, and it's a paid gig, but it is a great way to make, you know, connections. And like you said, I mean, you didn't get the gig with the Rock Vault because, you know, at that time you weren't as high profile. I mean, even the gig with a Rising Force, I think, is going to put you out there a little more. And it is a great way to do stuff like that to make connections, because even though you're not going to play with any of the bands, you know, say on the Monsters of Rock cruise, I'm sure you know some of those guys, and you get to go up and meet some of them and say, yeah, I'm a musician too, and like you said, you meet somebody like Andrew Freeman or whoever, and they remember you, and they're like, yeah, hey Dave, how you doing? And so I think it's cool that you do stuff like that, because even you know, even the show we're doing today, typically we you know, interview hard rock and metal artists, and I think you fall into that category. But I'll tell you a funny story. There's been a few times, like I got a chance recently to interview Lord Nelson, who's the former singer from Stuck Mojo, and they got more of kind of a rap and metal thing going. But you know what? I think there's definitely metal fans that are into Stuck Mojo. So I'm like, who the hell am I to turn down an interview with the former singer from Stuck Mojo? And you know what? The guy gave a great interview. So I think sometimes you got to just be willing to open yourself up for stuff like that.
Agreed. Yeah, it's there are so many great artists out there.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful to be able to just rub elbows with all these different people and get their stories. You know, I mean, it's their stories are important. You know what? I did a you know, when I was living out in LA, I was signed with a band called The Constant on Capitol.
Oh wow!
And it was small time.
Yeah.
But I used to do I still do it today. I do for everybody's birthday. That's a friend of mine on Facebook.
Yeah.
Now that you're a friend on Facebook, you'll get one of these as well.
Thanks.
On their birthday,
Yeah.
I sing to them a 3-part harmony, "Happy Birthday," and I got a call from a guy in England one day saying, "Hey mate, you left my girlfriend a birthday message." I thought, he's gonna rip me a new one.
Oh, wow.
And he was like, "No, you want to do an album with me?" And I was like, "Okay." So I got to work. He got me a producer in LA. I got to work with Kane Roberts, who was
Alice Cooper. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, Alice Cooper, guitar player. We went in the studio. We recorded the album. I got to record this album, and one of my songs that I wrote actually went on the album with a bunch of other, great singers like Ralph Sheepers from Primal Scream.
Oh, wow. See?
Yeah. So that kind of opened up the door for me over in Europe because of Jet Rylands.
Wow. See,
that was a great thing.
One thing just leads to another if you're willing to do stuff like that. And I think, that's the cool thing about leaving birthday messages, because on one hand, it may not seem like a huge thing, but you never know. It might just be enough to make somebody's day, like, oh, wow, somebody I've never even met, where they thought enough of me to give me a birthday wish,
Yeah.
And that's a cool thing. And then that kind of sets you apart. And then you tell me, oh, I was kind of, in a small-time band on Capitol Records. You know what? I mean, the band may not have been a huge name or made a huge splash, but, there are a ton of people doing what you do, but have never been signed to Capitol Records. So, you gotta look at it that way.
Yeah, it's I've been hungry for a very long time, and I'm never afraid to go out and rub elbows with anybody, because honest to God, you don't know who you're going to meet. You don't know, you don't know what kind of lives you're going to change. I mean, and here's another a quick point on this whole thing of rock and roll and why I'm still doing it. I got approached when I was at NAMM, which is a music convention in Anaheim. I used to get in for free because a buddy of mine, his name's Dave Watson.
Okay. Oh, wow.
I'd use his pass,
Yeah.
And so I went in there, and this girl, after a few years of doing NAMM, this girl ran up to me, and she was crying, and she said to me, she goes, "Your song with the beating of your heart changed my life, and you saved my life, and I wanted to kill myself." And I freaked out.
I thought, wow.
I was like, I go, okay, I think I gotta take this serious.
Yeah, wow.
So that was kind of a turning point for me. We're talking 2012, 2013.
Yeah, NAMM, and the internet, you never know. I mean, there's this guy on the internet I've been following for years. He's a great guitar shredder. I mean, I don't know what to call him. His name is Maxwell Carlisle. He's played previously like with Society One, but he's a great solo artist. Anyways, he went to NAMM for years, and nothing really happened for him. All of a sudden, he started doing these like YouTube videos that he'd produce on his own of different things he'd endorse, and just different pedals and how to use different equipment. And all of a sudden, he said his profile just shot up like you wouldn't believe. All of a sudden, and now he gets invited back to like NAMM when they have it, every year.
That happened to a good friend of mine, Jimmy Burkhardt.
Yeah.
Jimmy is he's probably the best blues player I've ever played with in my life, and he was in my Skinner band, at the inception of it when we were in Los Angeles. And I remember one day, because he was starting to get a name around. And I shouldn't say that. He had a name.
Yeah.
Loved him, but he never really did a whole lot, with that aspect. He was a Detroit musician, came out to LA, and we were sitting at this little bar in Venice Beach called Hanano's. Best burgers on the planet, by the way.
Wow.
And we're sitting there, and Steve McGrath from Billy Idol's band has a cover band.
Okay.
And they're playing, and he started talking to Jimmy, and Billy offered him the gig. Said,
Wow.
Steve offered him the gig. Steve said, and so Jimmy came to me and he's like, hey man, this guy wants me to join his band. What do you think? I go, Jimmy, do it. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So Jimmy does that as well. He ended up, he plays at all these events. He's in the Bonzo Bash every year at NAMM.
Oh, wow.
He plays with Brian
Tischie. I love that guy, I tell you. Wow.
Yeah, he plays with all these great musicians now, and he does that as well. He's got his own YouTube page. It's probably just called Jimmy Burkhardt. B-U-R-K-H-A-R-D, I believe.
I'll look him up. Wow.
Definitely look him up. He does that. He tests out pedals, and he'll play little riffs and do that. But you know what? The guy plays like butter. It's like that fretboard, he owns it, and he's one of the, so there are a bunch of people like that out there. They're just need a shot,
Yeah, Brian Tischie's another name to me, that you brought up. I've had the pleasure of interviewing that guy like 2 or 3 times. Super nice guy, super talented. Especially being a drummer, he's got like really an identity all of his own, and he's got a huge profile. Last time I interviewed him last Christmas, because a few years ago he put out a Christmas CD where he's like instrumental, and he's got some other great artists on there. And he also did a Christmas CD with Billy Idol. I can list off that guy's credits, but one of the things he's a real individual guy. I remember seeing him years ago, like on Eddie Trunk's This Is Metal show or whatever, that metal show, and he developed this thing with a speed bag that he put on his drum set, and I'm like, I'd never seen anything like that.
I was just going to mention that because when he'd play at Vamped, he would hop off the kit and start hitting the bag.
And then I love the fact that he can play the guitar, he can sing, he's one of those guys that can kind of do it all, even though he's primarily known as a drummer. He can kind of do it all, and that's what I love about Brian.
Again, there are so many of them out there, and a lot of the people that Brian played with, people don't know. There's some bass players I could name. There are guitar players I could name, and singers I could name that never got a shot. And
then I was curious. You mentioned doing time in Vegas. Did you ever come across Todd Kearns? He's a bass player from Slash's band, and I know he gets involved with a lot of stuff down there, and he's a super cool guy too.
Todd is I consider Todd my friend.
Oh, you're lucky then.
I've talked to him quite a few times. There's a little jealousy thing going on, with Todd, because my ex-girlfriend was a Todd freak. She loved Todd, so we had Todd's picture hanging up in our living room.
Wow.
I should have seen the writing on the wall then.
Yeah. What's funny about Todd Kearns is, he's kind of exploded since, obviously being in Slash's band, but there was a time where I remember he's kind of on the rise still, and he's a guy from Canada originally, and there was a brief time when he was fronting, they had 2 versions of Faster Pussycat, and he was briefly the singer in that, and look at what he's, and I dig the fact that he's one of those guys that kind of knows his place. I've heard him talk several times, since working with Slash. He says, I got offered to audition for the second guitar player or be the bass player. He goes, why do I want to be the guitar player when Slash does what he does? He goes, if I took the bass position, he's always going to need a bass player,
Yeah, no, that's true. And his buddy who plays drums, he does the same thing. He's actually a keyboard player.
Oh, Brent Fence,
they're multiple instrumentalists, and Todd had a band in Las Vegas called the Sin City Sinners.
Oh, I remember them. Yeah. Jizzy Pearl.
And they were, Brent Muscat from Faster Pussycat was in it.
Yeah.
Just great.
I think
guys.
that's
funny guys.
I think that's when Vegas was really starting to take off as what's known as Music City now. And David, it's interesting that I was curious. Are you still? You're probably very busy, but I don't imagine you're still doing the Skynyrd band, right?
I am not doing the Skynyrd band. When I left Las Vegas, I've got a friend of mine who and check him out. He's amazing. He goes by the name Sin City Sammy.
Okay, wow.
And what's great about this dude is that he's been endorsed. Like, so anyway.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I'll definitely check him out, because the reason I'm asking is, I got to tell you, I'm a huge, believe it or not, I'm a huge supporter of tribute bands. I've interviewed them, a number of them over the years, and one thing I really love about the tribute scene is, especially bands that kind of go the extra mile and dress the part, is I like to call it like rock and roll theater, you know, because I think like if somebody that's maybe even seen Lynyrd Skynyrd or never seen Lynyrd Skynyrd, it's a great opportunity, because maybe it take you back to the first time you heard Sweet Home Alabama on the radio, or first time you saw Lynyrd Skynyrd, you know, in concert. And I think it's a great way for, especially Lynyrd Skynyrd's kind of winding down on their final farewell tour now. So I think it's a great way for people to kind of still connect with Lynyrd Skynyrd.
Yeah, a fun band. When we were playing out there, the last shows I did with, and the name of the Skynyrd band is called Sweet Home Alabama, by the way.
Okay.
When I was out there doing these shows, we were doing them in Laughlin.
Wow.
And Laughlin is on the border of Arizona and Nevada. It's probably about an hour and a half out of Las Vegas. So we were there to do a couple weeks of shows, and one of the nights Skynyrd was actually playing.
Wow.
Yeah. So Ricky Metlock, who used to be in Blackfoot,
of course,
now is, you know,
Skynyrd, yeah,
and now is in Skynyrd. His sister was actually at our show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because we do Train from Blackfoot. And she came up to me after the show. She goes, "I'm going to tell my brother. That was amazing."
Yeah, and you know,
I go, "Oh, wow."
Lynyrd Skynyrd is one of those bands now, because, you know, with the plane crash and everything, I mean, it's much more to me and a lot of people, it's much more than just a band. It's a family. It's kind of become a way of life, if you will, whereas, you know, besides the original guys that died in the plane crash, I mean, several of the band members coming in and out in Skynyrdom over the years have also passed on. It's almost become like a football team, if you will. Okay, one guy, you know, this guy dies, and, you know, we'll get somebody new to kind of fill in, and it's really become kind of more like a lifestyle than just a band.
Yeah, I think that happens with a lot of these bands. They'll continue on. You know, there's been rumors that Kiss is going to pass it on.
Yeah, we'll see. The biggest,
we'll see about that.
The biggest laugh to me as a Kiss fan on that is when I hear Gene and Paul not just say that, but oh yeah, Kiss is going to retire, and then we're gonna hire our own replacements. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I do think Kiss is one band that maybe can get away with that, like if they were to have a reality show or something. But I just don't think it would be the same without Gene and Paul.
Probably not. Paul's a fun guy.
Yeah.
I never got to meet him. I never got to meet Gene either, but I know plenty of people that do know them.
Yeah.
And they're actually really good guys, whatever the media says about them. I mean, that's the thing about after living in LA and living in Vegas, and after meeting and hanging out with a lot of these people, the media is just so...
Oh, sure. And then
over the top with something.
The internet, you really don't know what to believe and what not to believe. You got to kind of take it with a grain of salt. But I guess the final thing I kind of want to ask you about before I let you go is, who are some of your influences as far as, you know, the singers that influenced you to do what you're doing?
Well, it started out, you know, in the 70s. You know, my parents were very much into theater. Okay. And my dad was a banjo player in a folk band.
Oh wow! Yeah.
And he was on Phillips Records back then. But so anyway, them being involved with theater so much, I was very much involved with theater as well. And there was a play out there called Jesus Christ Superstar.
I've heard that. Yeah.
And
okay. Yeah.
So I got the album for it. I got the London cast.
Okay.
And on the London cast was Ian Gillan.
Oh wow. Deep Purple, yeah.
Deep Purple.
Yeah.
And he was singing as Jesus, and I fell in love with it. I was like, those blood-curdling screams that he did. I did everything I could as a kid to emulate Ian Gillan. So Ian Gillan was probably, you know, #1 when it came to
now,
rock.
now let me ask you, after you got that Jesus Christ Superstar album, did you become a Deep Purple fan after that, or did you know who Ian Gillan was at that by that point?
I didn't know. I was pretty young.
Oh, cool! Wow.
But I definitely became a Deep Purple fan. God, Richie Blackmore's had so many great singers.
Yeah, that's the thing. Band. That's the thing, and it's interesting because I'm a huge Deep Purple fan myself, and my biggest problem is being able to decide between which album's better as far as Machine Head or Burn. I mean, I love Machine Head because that came first. Don't get me wrong, but then you get to the next album, and the band literally they throw out Roger Glover and Ian Gillan, and they get Glenn Hughes and David Coverdale. You think going through a major lineup change like that, especially somebody like David Coverdale, 21-year-old unknown British singer at the time, and they go on to even bigger success. So that's the thing with Deep Purple. I mean, and they were always the ultimate jam band.
I was going to say, for my next vocalist there, it was David Coverdale. I think I gravitated more towards Coverdale than anything because I'm like a baritone.
Yeah.
When I sing, I've got a baritone voice just speaking.
Yeah.
And I just love his eloquence. I wouldn't say I copy him.
Yeah.
But stage wear, I wear a button-down shirt.
Okay. Yeah.
Just like Coverdale.
Coverdale, I do think I lean a little more favor with him, although I love both guys. But and maybe it has a lot to do with my age. I mean, a funny story about that is I remember hearing, kind of discovering Whitesnake when that '87 album came out, and I didn't realize at the time that hey, that guy was in Deep Purple before there was ever a Whitesnake, and he sang on that Burn album, and then once I realized, oh wow, okay, no wonder I love Whitesnake.
Yeah, amazing band.
Yeah, and like I mentioned, I'm going to ask you while I got you on the line here. I mentioned being a Deep Purple fan and Machine Head. Machine Head turns 50 years this year, if you can believe that. That's kind of putting our age out there. But what do you think about Machine Head as an album, or 50 years later after its release?
Well, considering that I was alive during that, here's a quick tidbit with that. I didn't know what a Machine Head was.
Yeah, neither did I. Like, what the hell is that?
For a long time, until I think a bass player actually said, "This is a Machine Head up on the top of my bass." Yeah. I was like, that
wow.
makes sense now.
Yeah.
I was thinking like a combination of a washing machine, or I don't know, or something to do with LSD.
Yeah. Interesting. I never knew that.
God.
But interesting thing. I'm sure you've heard the song "Highway Star." I was reading somebody saying now that if you listen to "Highway Star," which is really kind of years before there was ever kind of any speed metal, thrash metal band, people are saying that was kind of the start of what would become speed metal or thrash metal. You don't typically think of Deep Purple as a thrash band, but I guess if you listen to "Highway Star" or even Speed King, it's got elements of that.
My favorite song on that album is actually "Maybe I'm a Leo," because I am a Leo.
Oh, cool! And I like "Never Before." It's kind of a little more of a commercial poppy tune on the album, but it's a great little fun tune. "Smoke on the Water," obviously, and what's kind of funny, I hear people always say, as guitar players, people either want to learn how to play, and they're totally different types of songs, gather, but people either want to learn, as far as guitar players, how to play the "Smoke on the Water" riff, or a riff from "Stairway to Heaven."
Yeah, those are the first ones. It's "Smoke on the Water" takes on a whole new role after you've actually been to Lake Geneva.
Yeah.
I got to spend a couple weeks out in Switzerland.
Yeah, I heard that story of a fire and stuff after the Frank Zappa concert, and that's kind of how they wrote the song about it.
Yeah. So you get to see the inspiration behind it and the beautiful area that they were in.
Yeah, and Blackmore, you mentioned, always been one of my all-time favorite guitar players, and he just kind of got such a mystique, and people either love him or they hate him. I mean, as far as his personality, I was laughing. I seen him in an interview recently, and he was talking about the fact that how everybody loves "Smoke on the Water," and he says, he goes, people say what a great song it is, and he likes the song. It's not his favorite. It's not his favorite Deep Purple song, though. He likes it, though. And I'm kind of like, well, I could kind of see, if you played that song, half a dozen times throughout your career, you might get tired of it.
Try a couple tens of thousand times.
Yeah, yeah. When you really think of it.
I got to see Deep Purple in Switzerland with the Alps in the background, and it was pretty wild.
Was Blackmore?
Of course, it was Steve Morse.
Okay, yeah, but he does it. He's no Richie, but I will say I think after he's now been in the band longer than Richie ever was, and I think he's fit nice in the band. Well,
that's always the sucky part about getting a big hit right off the bat.
Yeah.
I love Anthrax, but I love John Bush, and I thought, when the album Sound of White Noise came out with John Bush singing for Anthrax, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. But, he got so much flack for not being Joey Belladonna.
Well, the funny thing about that is Joey Belladonna is not even the original singer of Anthrax. People may or may not even realize that, but I guess he was on the most commercial, most popular albums. But at the same time, I do kind of think if Anthrax had their way, they may have stayed with Bush. But let's be honest, like a lot of bands, they got back with Joey because it made them more sense financially, and they've been making more money ever since. So I guess there's a business aspect to it,
Oh yeah, there's always a business aspect to it. I guess. I've never made money doing this, so maybe someday.
Yeah, and so on that front, let's talk about the video for Believe. Pretty cool looking video. Did that take a long time to shoot or put together?
No, not really. We had a team of people. Lenny came up with the concept initially. And it was based off of an angst he has, this thing against organized religion, which I share with him. Lenny and I share a lot of similarities in that respect, as far as politics and religion, poisons, and that both one and the same to me. So initially he came out with that, but the concept was kind of put together by a videographer friend of his. Okay. And we liked the fact that it was, it's definitely a dark video, but the ending where the girl wakes up, it's kind of, we put that in. That was kind of like, all right, we don't want to make this, something that's going to turn people off or whatever. We want to make it open to interpretation as much as we possibly can. But the dream sequence, was, Lenny and I were just like, it would be really cool if this girl woke up and this was all just make believe. Because I think that's what we all want to do because of COVID. We all just want to wake up and go, oh my God, can this end already?
Yeah, I'm with you. Let's get back to living our lives. I live here in Los Angeles, and everything's cool right now, but they're even talking about, if the cases of COVID go back up, we're going to require people to wear indoor masks again, and this and that. I'm like, can we just live our lives? We kind of have a better idea of how to live with it, So, I've interviewed a lot of people, during COVID, and this one guy is like in 3 different bands, and he was telling me, I didn't play a lot of live shows during that time, but you know what? I recorded a lot of music. I got my next 3 or 4 albums already in the can.
Almost everybody did that, or at least all the smart ones.
I dig people that do stuff like that, rather than because there were some bands are like, we're not gonna release any new music. We're not going out on the road until this is all over, and it's like, well, who the hell knows when that's gonna be?
Yeah, I've had many friends that because of COVID, delved right back into their alcoholism, drug addiction.
That's a shame, yeah.
And it was very hard on a lot of artists.
Yeah.
When Vegas shut down, I had lived in LA before. I know there's a scene there.
Yeah.
and a lot of people from LA do live in Vegas. But when Vegas shut down, Vegas is all entertainment. It was a complete ghost town. You went from 50 million people a year that go to Las Vegas.
I mean,
that's an ungodly number.
And this COVID stuff really first hit. I mean, like a lot of people, I was in shock. I mean, I kind of know what you're talking about, because even in Los Angeles, which people may find hard to believe. I mean, I remember when things were first locked down, going down, going out on the street. I mean, in front of my house, which is a pretty busy street, and you didn't see a single car on the street. You didn't see a single person walking around the corner. I mean, people were so afraid to come out of their house. And
it's kind of nice, huh?
Yeah, in a way. And then I remember, like, it really wasn't like a ghost town. I got in my car one day just to drive around and take a drive, and I was like, man, there's not anybody within sight of my eyes. I mean, wow. And so, like, I kind of like getting things back to the way they were. I think we kind of got to. But I want to thank you, David. It's been great chatting with you. And do me a favor, let's keep in touch. And
definitely.
Anytime you have anything to promote or anything, I'd love to talk to you again. And I guess that's the real final question for today is, because I just love the video for Believe. Do you guys think there'll be more videos down the line?
Yeah, we've got, I mean, it's tough for us to pick.
That's the thing, yeah. Like,
song.
What do we do? Yeah.
Yeah, what song do we do? I mean, we got songs on the top 200 right now that are getting some traction, so that's kind of cool. We do have a song that, God, I wish we would have released it during the lockdown.
Yeah.
It's actually called Lockdown.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's it's one of the lines is I'm isolated from family. Well, they don't like me anyway.
Yeah, and just talking about the lockdowns real quick, another thing that kind of just snapped in my mind as we're talking is also here in LA during the lockdowns. I mean, we had a governor here. I mean, I never would have thought in a million years that like they would shut down even like movie theaters and wouldn't allow people to go see a movie. And there was a real serious fear of it. Movie theaters and even places like the legendary Whiskey downtown LA where Van Halen and the Doors played were going to close down. And I remember seeing the governor get on TV and saying, oh, well, entertainment business may not ever be like it once was before. We may decide to close down all the movie theaters. I'm like, you're getting on TV telling people this, really? And luckily it didn't come to that, because I think there would have been a huge uproar, because I think people do need to go out and see a movie. People do need to go out and see live entertainment,
We're social creatures, I guess what I want to do as a musician, I want people to get rid of fear.
Yeah.
Fear has paralyzed us. And you know what? This is the way I look at it. We're all going to die.
Yeah, eventually.
All of us.
Yeah.
Every single one of us are going to die. There's not one of us that's going to live forever.
Yeah.
So I want to live forever through leaving a legacy. And I hope that other people want to do that as well. I hope people really want to live. I think, I don't want to go back to what we were before.
Yeah.
I want to move forward with a different mindset.
Yeah, I mean, more than anything, let's try to all be on the same team and not try to, divide and conquer one another. I think that's what it's got about. And, the final thing I will say, David, is in your statement there, I think there's a song in that where you said, I want to live forever. Yeah. Take care, my new friend, and we will keep in touch.
Thank you, Jason. Have a great day.
Okay, you too. Bye-bye.
Chaotic Riffs Magazine.